Golden State Media Concepts Fantasy Football Podcast is your one-stop shop for fantasy football news and advice. Can't decide on who to draft on the first round? Going gaga on how to line up your team. We've got you covered. Traditional leagues, dynasty leagues, PPR leagues, IDP league, even daily fantasy football league. Join us as we break down all the questions of fantasy football. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Fantasy Football Podcast.
What is up? Welcome to the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast on a Thursday today here. My name is Tom Dougherty, your host. As always, this podcast is brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. As teams have, pretty much everybody has reported, or at least started their training camps. Not every player has reported. We're going to have some holdouts surely this year as usual. And there's actually this year we're having kind of a little bit of a different thing from Josh Gordon, where he's like, you know what, I need a couple more, I need a week or two more, or whatever he needs to right himself and get himself in the right frame of mind. Or, I mean, honestly, Josh Gordon, you got to give the guy credit. He got kind of shoved out of the league, made some bad choices, but he's really worked hard to get back, and he's excited a lot of people, especially in Cleveland, obviously, to be a contribution or contributor to the Browns this season. So when he gets to camp, I'm sure he'll be just fine. And it's not a contract situation. It's just he did come out on his Twitter and say, you know, this is part of my process. I'm not going to be there right when camp starts, but I'm going to get there when my mind is right. And unfortunately, the only problem is I think that, you think it would be a prescribed kind of thing where some like his therapist or a doctor or some sort of or a team official would tell him, okay, yeah, you can take the first week of camp off. You can take the first 2 weeks of camp off. But the Browns don't really know when he's going to show up. That's the thing. He could show up at any point, it seems like, but he just needs more time. He's not going to be there right at the beginning. Tom, this is a fantasy show. I'm giving you news, and then you can make your decisions. Obviously, there's a lot that factors into decision making regarding drafting a guy like that. Or maybe, even if it comes down to it and you have to decide if you're going to pick him up on waivers. The Browns are one thing. You're going to have, I actually like Tyrod Taylor. Been a Tyrod Taylor fan. I liked what he did in Buffalo, even up there in that kind of weather. He's done good things in this league. So I like Tyrod Taylor, and the fact that that's the one question mark. If he was just Tyrod Taylor there and they didn't pick Baker Mayfield, or they didn't, if they had a quarterback that wasn't the first pick and wasn't Baker Mayfield, who is just apparently I don't know. Is he going to be like the star of the league? What is he going to be, the face of the rookie class? He's not. He's definitely not the best player. The problem, I think Saquon's the face of the rookie class, if anything, or Bradley Chubb, or there's the thing is there's 4 quarterbacks. It's not just Baker. It's Josh Rosen and Sam Darnold and Josh Allen as well, and you could say Lamar Jackson. That's really the bet. If anything, Vegas needs to set up. I'm sure they have it, or actually there's a prop bet for who's going to get on the field the first of them out of those 5 quarterbacks. Who's going to get on the field first? Baker. I don't think Baker is gonna. I've heard people like talking about, oh, he needs to be the starter. He's the first pick. He needs to start. No, he doesn't. No, he does not. All those guys need at least a year, or at least I don't think a year. A year is a long time, honestly, to sit behind. But Aaron Rodgers did it. He sat behind Brett Favre for what, 2 years in Green Bay at least. So if you're Sam Darnold, I think that's the situation where he might have to start faster, because you have a Teddy Bridgewater, and then Josh McCown honestly is fine. But then other places, like in Baltimore, they're trying to run 2 quarterback plays. So you're going to see Lamar Jackson out there with Joe Flacco maybe, and they can't afford to just bench Joe Flacco. He's being paid too much. In Arizona, Josh Rosen probably has the 1B, maybe actually 1A, because you have 2 guys in New York that they can go to before they get to Sam Darnold. But Sam Bradford in Arizona, Sam Bradford down there in Arizona with the Cardinals, is obviously a walking injury, and he doesn't tend to make it. I mean, honestly, whoever's his agent is a genius. But to get that big contract right when he signed, but no, knowing the guy's injury prone, and he has been injury prone his whole life or his whole career seemingly, now down there in Arizona, and I mean that just by default you might see Josh Rosen on the field there quickly, because we're going to it's going to be fun, because all of these guys, all five of them are going to be on the field for preseason, and they're all going to have meaningful snaps for them, not for obviously for us. We don't really care. But we care about the future, and just, building off of a performance in the preseason is always nice, and seeing what they can do. I mean, we saw the college game it's a mighty difference. You can say, oh, they run a pro style offense. Oh, they're in the SEC. They play against big defenses, and Big Ten plays against big defenses. Well, Josh Rosen played for UCLA. I mean, the Pac-12 is decent, but it's just not there's nothing like it. You're facing early stage 18 through 23-year-olds, maybe a 24, 25-year-old if they're a graduate transfer or a redshirt senior or something like that. In the NFL, you're facing 28-year-old men, 29-year-old men, 33-year-old men, 30. I mean, you're going way up. You're skewing way up the age level and also experience level and everything. So everybody's on the even playing field. It's not like, oh, we're going to stick around here for 4 years and then move on. No, we've been here for. I mean, I just looked at the 49ers reported Joe Staley. He's having this is his 12th season in the NFL, all with the Niners. I mean, if you're Bradley Chubb, you played in the ACC. I mean, Bradley Chubb, honestly, we know his intangibles. We've seen his strength, his workouts, everything. He's going to be fine. But just telling you, there's a learning curve. There's absolutely a learning curve for any rookie, which is, I mean, Captain Obvious is me. But say you're Bradley Chubb and you're in the ACC and you're going against some sophomore or junior tackle, and you could just blow by him, versus going up against Joe Staley, or I'm trying to think of another big left tackle because Joe Thomas just retired. Joe Staley or a Nate Solder he's on the Giants now. Actually, he's gonna be left tackle for the Giants, just left the Patriots, and then. Or something like that, or a who's the guy? Andrew Whitworth that the Rams just got. So I mean, it actually is going to go up against Andrew Whitworth this year, because the Rams and the Broncos play this year, because the AFC West plays the NFC West this year. How nice! But yeah, no. So that's just there's a learning curve, but like fantasy wise, it doesn't really. I mean, you're going to obviously pick a defense is a little different, but fantasy wise, you're probably more worried about the running backs. We talked a lot about the rookie running backs on the show, and how they're all really good. Honestly, they're all really good. And circumstances might end up being the roadblock that hinders them from becoming what they could be as quickly as they could be. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to derail their career because they can't get on the field or they're not getting touches. No, but just the immediate splash. I mean, obviously, you're going to probably see it from the three guys who are likely going to start for their team. That's going to be Saquon Barkley, probably Ronald Jones down in Tampa Bay, and then maybe Derrius Guice gets a starting job in Washington, because they don't really have people that are going to be in front of them. I'm thinking of depth charts that we did last month, but yeah. So I mean, that should be just fine. The problem for Kerryon Johnson he's in a very crowded backfield, but the thing is, he's also their second round pick, second or third round pick. So he's not going to go anywhere. If anything, it's going to be Abdullah or it's going to be Riddick, and they're not going to run with four running backs. They're going to have either Riddick or Abdullah. My money's on. Honestly, knowing Kerryon Johnson, and he's not Sony Michel. He's more of a bell cow every down back. Johnson is, so maybe you keep Abdullah. I mean, the thing is, Riddick has been more even keel. I've had this conversation in my head like 50 times. Like, who do you get rid of? Because you're obviously keeping Blunt. You signed him in the offseason, and you're keeping your draft pick. So it's either one of the other two guys. I think Abdullah was more on the way on the fringe than any of them else. And then Nick Chubb, no relation. He's in Cleveland, and we talked about that a little bit on Tuesday, and how what are they going to do with Duke Johnson? Because you signed you signed Carlos Hyde to a 3-year deal for some good money. You have a second round pick. as well, and a good running back from a good school. Broke all the. Georgia. This is a school where Herschel Walker went, where Todd Gurley went. He broke their records, most of them. Nick Chubb did. So you could think that maybe Duke Johnson is the odd man out, and they're going to throw. They're going to run with a two-back tandem back situation with Carlos Hyde and the rookie, obviously, Chubb. So I think I like Chubb. I'm not the biggest Carlos Hyde fan because I did watch him firsthand a lot with the Niners, and he has great little spurts, but then he just goes and becomes invisible for like 3 drives. So it's kind of weird, and he has butterfingers too. So that just goes to that. I'm trying to think. Sony Michel is in New England. Couldn't be a better spot for him because he basically just goes and becomes a new Dion Lewis, and is going to be very good there and going to be able to catch the ball from the best quarterback in the, we can go over the quarterback rankings on a different time, but Tom Brady, we'll say he's be catching his balls from Tom Brady. You can say what you want about whether you rank Tom Brady. I think Aaron Rodgers is still a better quarterback, but Tom Brady, he's darn good. I mean, the guy, he's darn good. Once I saw that 4th and 18 play conversion, actually, I kind of knew it was going to happen already. The one against the Jacksonville Jaguars in the AFC Championship game, I'm like, okay, 4th and 18, Jacksonville's got this. Come on. Oh wait, it's Tom Brady. He's going to convert. They're going to convert. I had no doubt. Or maybe was it 4th? I'm pretty sure it was 4th and 18. So they converted it. Obviously won the game. So at best is history. They lose in the Super Bowl. I'm trying to think of who else we have as a rookie. Oh, Rashaad Penny. Rashaad Penny in Seattle. Circumstances are going to hinder him because their offensive line is cruddy. But he's going to have probably the most opportunity. I talked about the other guys who probably are going to be starting. Obviously, Saquon will be starting in New York. But Penny is definitely, he's another guy. It's shoe-in to start in Seattle because they literally have nobody else on that team. I'm trying to think of their running backs. That's Samaje Perine. He's done. Thomas Rawls is done, and then Robert Turman, I think, was the last one that I'm thinking of in there. On that team, and he was injured, I think. So, yeah, no, you're definitely going to have a lot of Rashaad Penny this year, and he's good. This is a guy who was the man. Obviously not a Power 5 school. You go to San Diego State, but he was the man at San Diego State, and he beat some good teams. He ran right through a good Stanford defense last year. They don't put any slouches on their schedule, and then obviously their conference is not the easiest conference either. So he has the records. Yeah, you can say, okay, yeah, he definitely has records at San Diego State for rushing records. But no, he's going to be fun. The John Snyder, I think it's Snyder at the GM for the Seahawks is not a dummy. The guy's smart. He knows how to pick players, and he makes very good draft picks. And he picked this guy he picked this guy in the first round. So he obviously thinks that he's going to be his running back of the now and of the future to be an every down back because they don't got anybody else. They basically have Russell Wilson, and he's going to run the ball too himself a lot. So that's your rookie running backs. They're going to be in. They're going to be in there. We've done the mock drafts, so you guys have listened. They have a lot of Saquon Barkley is in the first round. The other ones are kind of sprinkled throughout rounds 5 through 8. Basically, that's about it. They don't get much deeper than that. Obviously, certain guys do because they have the crowded backfield, so they get a little bit lower rating. But Ronald Jones, he's going like a 5th, 6th, 7th round. Same thing for Guice. Same thing for Rashaad Penny. Because they're all the guys who are going to get the most touches this year as rookies. The other guys are going to be more kind of mixed in. Obviously, Patriots running backs are always shifted around, and they kind of mix and match there. And then obviously we've talked about the crowded backfields for the other two. I'm trying to think. Was there any other? I'm trying to think of the other running backs that we had. Sony Michel, Saquon Barkley. Obviously, we talked a lot about Saquon, and I know I've been low. I'm not the highest person on Saquon. I know he's going to be fine. He's going to put up numbers. Draft him if you want. Really want him, take him because he's going to get you points. I'm not really worried about that. He's going to get in the end zone. It's just he's just flat. I feel like it's a flash in the pan situation where he is going to really need a good offensive line. Maybe the thing is, it's going to take some time. I don't think he's going to be. It's going to take some time. Probably week 5 maybe is when he finally starts hitting the stride because That team is weird. You have an aging quarterback. You got a diva receiver. You got another young receiver who, on the other side, Sterling Shepard, who's trying to prove himself, is very good. You have a good, dynamic, young, fast tight end, and your defense is pretty darn good too. You got a all pro safety on your defense too. So if they can back it up with the defense, obviously good combination. Saquon to get on the field as much as possible, then obviously more volume breeds more production. All right, we'll wrap it up for this segment. We'll come back after the break and do some more draft. I said draft day tips. I didn't really do much. We're just doing general talk. Everybody's kind of trickling into training camp this week as we get in the swing of things. 2 weeks until the first week of preseason, of course, and that'll be a fun one. So everybody's we'll do continuing the talk on this stuff, and we'll do it when we come back.
Are you looking for the very best NFL and college football podcast? Then check out the GSMC Football Podcast. Get the latest football news both on and off the field. From the NFL Draft to trades to the rumor mill to the NFL Combines. They got you covered. That's GSMCpodcast.com/football-podcast. Get updates on college rivalries, game day insights, and much, much more. It's football talk the way you want it. This show eats, sleeps, and breathes football. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast on a Thursday today here as we're coming back. Just talking a little draft day tips. My main draft day tip is to wait till Labor Day. Literally, it's perfect day. It is perfect day. No, it is the perfect day to draft because we have the day off. It's a holiday, and it's like 3 days before the season starts. So you can wait as long as you possibly can to make sure you don't get scrooged with injury during the preseason or something like that if you draft too early, which is just your fault for doing that. Labor Day is the day that everybody should draft. Don't not all at the same time. We don't want to kill the Yahoo servers or the ESPN servers or NFL servers. No, I'm kidding. Well, you never know. We have enough people in this country who play fantasy football, and honestly, that's a commentary I could start eventually. I don't know if I'm going to do it right now, but fantasy football is saving football. People aren't watching it because they're upset about the anthem rules, or they're upset about what the players are doing with the anthem. Obviously, it's the majority of it. I have my opinions about the anthem rule, the fact that we live in this country and we have the rights that we have. Allow those players to silently protest however they want. They could be going on Twitter, they could be going on Facebook, they could be going on YouTube and making videos and trying to get in your face and this is unfair. No, they're just kneeling down. I'm not trying to divide into people here or throw a wedge or anything. Just telling you that we live in this great country for the rights that we have and the freedoms that we have, and we're blessed with those rights and freedoms. And why would we get upset when people are exercising them? They're not disrespecting the flag. They're not going up there and spitting on a flag or turning their back on the flag or doing some sort of thing before a game that would be disrespectful. They're merely kneeling down, showing basically the only point of it is to gain attention. It literally did exactly what it was supposed to do. It made people talk about it. Unfortunately, in our world now, where media and people just go crazy and social media overdoes things and things get picked up and this and that, we miss the point. We miss the point completely, and we get all worried about, they're disrespecting the flag. No. And of course, the NFL then oversteps, and I don't even know what they're going to do with the rule this year. They decided to pull back and table it till next year or something like that. I don't know what they're going to do. But yeah, no, it's not people not watching it because of that, then so be it. But fantasy football is here, and fantasy football is a great vehicle and a great thing to do if you need more motivation to watch football. If you do, or really pay attention. And honestly, being a fan of just one team, it kind of can make you short-sighted, and you can put blinders on and such, and when you play fantasy football, it forces you to watch everything pretty much, and to be more well-rounded, regardless of who's kneeling or not. It's we've already Jarrell Casey, a Pro Bowl defensive end or defensive tackle for the Tennessee Titans. He's on the Titans. Has already said he's going to take his fines. Like, I don't care. I'll pay your fines. This is a bigger picture. It's a bigger thing that's going on here. It's called awareness. What happened when those NBA players wore the shirts with the hands up, don't shoot? Is that a big deal? Oh, believe me, it went crazy there too. But football is different. Football is our lifeblood. It's America. Well, basketball. What's basketball? The hip hop sport, the fancy shoes sport, the fancy outfit sport. We're still in the same country. We're here. So, if you need more reasons to watch football, if you're questioning about it, if you're like, oh, I'm just going to watch the playoffs. I know. I talked to somebody before the Super Bowl. I'm like, oh, I just watched the playoffs. I'm like, what's the difference? It's still a game. If you're really going to boycott a sport, you better boycott the dang sport all the way. There's no halfway of doing that kind of stuff. So people who like have their, I'll hedge it a little bit. I'll just do it halfway. Okay, no. Just don't do it at all. How about you understand the reason why people are doing things, and go about your day normally. It's not personally affecting you. Like, I am kneeling because I want to disrespect the flag and I want it to personally hurt you. That's what some people felt. That's what those. I'm not going to point out and categorize people at all politically. That's not what this show is for. But I'm just telling you, if you need more reason to do it, this is more of a PSA for fantasy football. Fantasy football is a great vehicle to be involved in the game, because it really does make you feel ownership. You get attached to your players. Especially the guys that you pick in the first few rounds. You're like, I need that. This is my boy. This is my guy. I need him to do good. So those who out there who have family members and friends that are wary about this season of football, just go put your arm around them and say, Yahoo Fantasy Football is free. We should set up a family league for fun. It's fun. It's just fun, camaraderie, family league, a little competition to throw a nice little some spirit into our lives. What's wrong with that? So, and then also on the other side of it, those who didn't watch the sport to begin with, or are trying to get more into it, or trying to become more educated in football. I was a big baseball person. I am a baseball nerd. Ridiculous. I played baseball for a long, long time. Since I could walk basically, until my shoulder decided that I didn't want to throw anymore. So I played as long as I possibly could, and I know a lot about baseball. And then football, I was kind of like, okay, I know the gameplay in sports, but the intricacies, all the ins and outs of it, rosters that moves, and play calling, and drawing up plays, route combinations, and just balancing a playbook, balancing your schemes, getting equal run to pass, all that kind of stuff, and a volume of catching. There's so many, like we talked about. We've done a whole show on performance variables for fantasy football. There's a lot to learn, and it's really easy to learn. It's really fun to learn, because you're playing, usually if you can get a league with some friends or some coworkers or some family members, it could be loose and have some good camaraderie, but then you also can have a little competitive spirit with it. It is really great. Unfortunately, I'm talking about it on a football podcast, fantasy football podcast. So those who probably are listening are already like, yeah, Tom, we know we already do fantasy football. So that's why I'm telling you guys to go spread the word. You got 2 weeks. Go make another league. Get your grandma and your aunt and your uncle and your sister and your brother all together, and your mom and your dad, and do a family league. Do a fun family league on the side. You could do more than one league. Come on. It's not hard. I've done 3 leagues at one time, 4 leagues, I think. And a fantasy baseball league at the same time. It's just, it obviously ends, but no, just you fantasy people out there who are listening to this show, spread the word and get more people playing fantasy football, because that is going to be the savior, I think, for this sport in the long run. College football, I also do the college football podcast. We do a football podcast, just general football podcast every day, Monday through Friday. But I do another show, kind of a spin-off of that show in the same like category. You can find it in the same spot, but it's a college football edition. So just check the show notes and it'll say college football edition with Tom Dougherty. So you can listen to that as well if you're a college football fan. And you want, I mean, that's another thing. That's why I'm like, if these 10% of mothers don't want their kids to play football because CTE and injuries, which is honestly, I'm totally a proponent for waiting. I think 8th grade is the absolute earliest. You play flag football, you learn all the X's and O's, you learn all the ins and outs. You can get a very good exercise and be active with it. But up till 8th grade, maybe even freshman year of high school is when you should put pads on, in my opinion, because every single little hit, every time you fall on the ground, every time a helmet, these kids, their helmets are almost as big as them, these little Mighty Mike kids, these little 5th graders and 7th graders, or 4th graders playing tackle football. They're crashing together, and they got their brains haven't developed a little. Their skulls are probably still a little soft. So it just goes to, it's scary, but I mean, I don't want to be Debbie Down around here, but I'm going to get on that train. But football, I don't think is going anywhere. It's got a lot of stuff going for it. If it loses a percentage of people because of the anthem, if it loses a percentage of people because of the injury stuff, then so be it. I'm not going to get upset about it. We have a good fan base. We have people who, I mean, the thing is, I talked about college football on the college football show, and how you don't have that in any other kind of sport. College football is very similar to European soccer, where you have these little tiny towns just erupt and explode on game day and become these flourishing, beautiful towns like Tuscaloosa, Alabama, or Oxford, Mississippi, or Starkville, Mississippi. There you go. Or Fayetteville, Arkansas. Where's that? That's where University of Arkansas is. Did you know that? Or Gainesville, Florida. Or, I mean, it's just all these different little towns. Clemson, South Carolina. It makes sense. Obviously, Clemson University would be there. And then, yes, I mean, there's some schools that are bigger towns. Obviously, College Station, Texas. If you think about it, really only 3 schools are actually, or 4 schools of the ACC and SEC are in big towns. South Carolina's in Columbia, UT, Texas in Austin, that's a pretty big town, and then Miami's in Miami, obviously, and then Florida State's in Tallahassee. Where else is there? That's it, pretty much. I mean, Vanderbilt. I'm not counting Vanderbilt. Sorry. They're not the big football. They're not a big football power. But I'm just telling you, the sport's okay. But fantasy football is another reason why it is okay. I think that it just really draws fans in and gets us up in the morning. I mean, I would not watch the 10 a.m. games unless the Niners are playing if it wasn't for fantasy football, because I have to set my lineup anyways. Because I mean, I literally am a last minute Johnny when it comes to that. I'm like, who is going to play? Probable, unprobable. Are they going to start? I want the last final word of what's going to happen, and I'll make my move at 9:30 in the morning before the first game starts at 10 a.m. Pacific time out here in California. So, that's definitely what I do. It's pretty funny, but sometimes when I oversleep, I'm like, I didn't start him, and you get all mad because he actually was going to be. It was probable or questionable the whole week, and then it goes to probable, and then it goes to playing. It's just that's the NFL for you. It goes from questionable to doubtful, and like, oh crap, he's still in my lineup or something like that. That's the worst, honestly. That is the worst. All right, I got on my soapbox a little bit there. I try to ride the line right in the middle there a little bit, being an advocate for fantasy football, which I am completely, a proponent for getting people involved, and even if you're in a competitive league with your buddies or your friends or your coworkers or whatever it is, try and get some more people going. I'm trying to get another league, get a family league going, get a little college buddies or whatever it is, people you haven't talked to. It'll bring you back together. It'll reunite people and stuff like that, because it's just friendly competition. And the thing is, you could do it from anywhere. You could have John in Buffalo against Cindy in Phoenix. It doesn't matter. They could play each other. It's all virtual online. You could trash talk each other on the message boards. You could. They made a TV show about it on FX, and if you haven't watched it, it's called The League, and you need to watch it. And it's on probably I don't know, actually. It's on demand or you could probably find it on fxx.com or something like that. I don't think it's airing anymore, but there's like 5 seasons. It's really funny. But yeah, so all that basically, and you can have some fun watching football, and don't worry about that anthem rule. It's literally okay. I love the anthem. I was playing sports. It was a very prideful moment in the before games, being able to have the anthem played before games. When I played, and going to the Giants games and standing up for the anthem is a very cool moment. But the anthem is not being disrespected at all. The flag is not being disrespected at all. It is merely a moment where people usually stand, and Colin Kaepernick and a bunch of other players who are very smart, very educated, very aware in their communities usually decided not to get us to pay attention. Actually, he did it a week before we even noticed. It took us a week to notice that he did it. All right, I'm done. That's it. All right, we'll come back after the break and we'll actually talk about some players, some other guys that I like this year, as well as so those draft day tips, especially for keeper leagues out there. I'm doing a keeper league. It's gonna be fun. So everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
All right, welcome back to GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast on a Thursday today here. My fantasy football advocacy segment is over. We're going to go back to the actual players. As keeper leagues are fun because it adds another element of strategy in there. So obviously, some guys it's really easy. Like me, it's easy. It works out both ways. Like, it's to keep a very good running back who's going to be projected in the top 5 probably this year in the first round, and I get him in the 3rd round. So I still get him, and I get a first round pick. So say it's crazy because it's still random first round pick. Or pick order. So if I get the 2nd pick in the draft, I could still get Antonio Brown, or if I want if Le'Veon's available, I don't know. But like the guy who picked Le'Veon Bell last year, number 1 overall, I don't know. It depends how we do it. We decide to do it. If we're going to pick draft order first, and then you declare who you want to keep, or vice versa. You declare you want to keep first, then we do the draft order. Because then if he takes Le'Veon for his first round pick, keeps him, he doesn't get a first round pick, and say he's like the 9th pick in the first round, which is like, he probably like, sweet, because then I get a early pick 2nd round. And so he'd get somebody big anyway. So you're going to have Le'Veon, you're going to have somebody big anyways there. So I mean, you could do that. That would work out well. But for me, I mean, I have Gurley in the 3rd round, so I won't have a 3rd round pick this year. But for those who like, I think my friend picked up Alvin Kamara. He didn't draft him. He picked him up in off waivers, because when he started getting good, so he's going to keep him. And since he picked him up off waivers, his buy round is his 16th round. It's the last round. So I mean, you could do that. You could do that too. And you can. And my other friend is Jared Goff, and actually Jared Goff had a very nice fantasy year last year, so he could do the same thing and just keep Jared Goff, have his quarterback in his pocket, and then not have a pick. He'll still have the same amount of picks. Rounds 1 through 15 would still be the same, and he wouldn't make a last pick. So that's what you could definitely do. this season, because I mean, obviously I've talked about keeper leagues and how to keep your value and how to make sure that you don't want to overstep a little bit too much. I mean, you obviously want to pick the right player, but finding the best player latest in the draft, basically, so you can keep your premium picks. But I mean, obviously, if you have Le'Veon, I mean, you might want to just keep him, because then you're obviously betting against the fact that you are going to get an early pick in the first round and you're not going to get him. May as well as keep Le'Veon and just deal with that first round, not having a first round pick, because you're guaranteeing yourself the first round. You're guaranteeing yourself the number 1 pick, or at least the number 2 pick if somebody picks, Zeke first, something like that. But they're not picking. I was going to say that if somebody picks Gurley first, they won't be able to pick Gurley first. But no, that's you're basically just guaranteeing yourself the first pick, and then if you don't get it, that's just going to determine what you pick in the later round. So that'd be my only thing. If you picked first last year and you got Le'Veon Bell or a big running back last year in the draft, then you can do that. You can keep it. But like if you picked Odell Beckham Jr. like with the 6th pick in the first round, find somebody else. Find somebody else. There's too many receivers out there that are good, and you can get another receiver. Don't waste your first round pick on that. You can still get the 6th pick in the draft with your random draft order. Not keep Odell. Pick somebody later in the draft that is still just as productive, but later in the draft, and then you'll have the 6th pick, and you could take Michael Thomas or Keenan Allen, who I both think are better than Odell Beckham in the long run, at least. I mean, Odell, yes, flashiness and everything, but as quarterbacks. The quarterback they both have, both those receivers, Phillip Rivers and Drew Brees versus Eli Manning, and then the defenses also. They're going to have those two, Michael Thomas and Keenan Allen are going to be on the field a lot this season, because the Saints defense is very good and the Chargers defense is very good, both top 10. I don't know, the Giants, obviously they still have Landon Collins, but the rest of it, I'm not sure, because they've already had, Jason Pierre-Paul went to Tampa Bay, so yeah. That's interesting there that he's gone. So that's my take on that when it comes to receivers, and it comes to picking the guy you want to keep, because I think so my buddy said, I'm gonna just keep Christian McCaffrey, and I don't really have anybody else to keep. I picked him in the 5th round, so I won't have a 5th round pick. That's fine. And then I look at his roster, I'm like, dude, you had Jared Goff. Jared Goff's going to be good. He's got a good coach. He's got a good receivers. He's got a good running back to throw to. He had a good year last year where he beat his projections. At least half the time he beat his projections. He had back-to-back weeks with 30 points, and he finished the year off with 30 points. It actually was week 16. He didn't play week 17. But he was a good quarterback in fantasy last year, honestly. So I was a Jared Goff fan. Looking at his, this is on Yahoo. Our scoring is a little differently, but he averaged. He had a 29-point game against the Niners, 23-point game, 20-point game, 38, 35, 25, ended the year with a 34. So, if the guy's solid. If he didn't beat his projection, he was right up against it. So, I like him. And I definitely, if you're going to keep somebody, then you can keep a quarterback that you picked up off waivers and just have him and then just draft like you would normally. That would work out well. So, it is what it is. The thing is, he doesn't really have anybody else that is willing to keep, that would be willing to keep. Christian McCaffrey, really. Minnesota defense. You can keep Minnesota defense, honestly. That would not be, it depends where you picked him. You probably picked him in the second to last round or something like that anyways. They're going to be pretty nasty again this year. All right. He went 7-7 and still finished in second place. Yeah, that's crazy. That's how playoffs work. He obviously was squeaked into the playoffs, beat the number 1 seed crazily, and then lost to yours truly in the playoffs in the final game last year. So just looking at who's worth keeping. Honestly, I have DeAndre Hopkins. I picked DeAndre Hopkins in the 4th round or the 2nd round this season. So I could keep him. I'm probably going to keep going to keep Todd Gurley. I actually have the draft order from last year right here. My team's right there. I picked Hopkins 3rd round. I actually picked Gurley in the 4th round. I didn't even realize that. I picked him in the 4th round, so I won't have a 4th round pick. Wow, this day keeps getting better and better. Obviously, I don't know why I did, but I picked I won this league last year with my draft. Obviously, a lot of turnover, but here's how I'll just give you my draft order. I have to tell you this because I'm looking at it. I didn't realize this is how it actually turned out. This is funny. So, first round, Aaron Rodgers. First, big mistake. Don't do that. Don't pick a quarterback first. I mean, Aaron Rodgers. Honestly, people I've seen pundits and people out there with a check mark next to their Twitter account and be like, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers should be the number one pick every year in fantasy." No, it doesn't pay to do that. He can't catch the ball. He doesn't get a point for every time he catches a catch. Running backs do. That's why they're premium, because they get they get the PPR and they get 10 yards. Usually it's 10 yards per point. So that's works. And then Aaron Rodgers is 25 yards a point usually for quarterback. So your trade-off is a little better for a running back, definitely. But looking at my picks from last year, so there were some good picks, there were some bad picks. So I really like Mike Evans. I don't like Mike Evans anymore. He's not going to have Jameis at least for the first 3 weeks. So I actually picked him in the second round last year. That ain't going to happen this year. I'm telling you that. I actually did get DeAndre Hopkins in the third round last year because he didn't have a quarterback and nobody knew what Deshaun Watson was going to do. So he dropped to the third round. Dez Bryant got picked right after. Terrell Pryor got picked before that. But I got DeAndre Hopkins, somehow sneaked him in the third round. He's not going to last very long there at all. So, yeah. Michael Thomas went way before that. Michael Thomas went in the first round. Look at all these receivers that went before him. Jordy Nelson, A.J. Green, Doug Baldwin, Brandon Cooks, and such. So, third round. Then, obviously, fourth round, I get Gurley. Fifth round, I got C.J. Anderson, which actually he ended up having his best week the last week of the season in the championship game, and I didn't start him. It didn't matter because Gurley went off for 50. But I mean, that's interesting. I mean, he's not even. Where did he go? Is he in? I don't know. Where did he go? He's not in Denver anymore. He went to. I want to say he went to Carolina. I think he went to Carolina. I can't keep all this track. Watch me be right, though, because I know that I have a good inkling of where he went. Carolina Panthers, I know. Come on. Don't second guess myself. What the heck am I doing? I know that. He went to Carolina. Just took me a second. Then I got Kelvin Benjamin. That's not going to happen. Jordan Reed in the seventh round. Am I counting right? 4, 5, 6, 7. Seventh round, Jordan Reed. I like Jordan Reed, but he's injury prone. I'd stay away from him this year. I'm more on the Evan Ingram. I love Kyle Rudolph. Obviously, if you can get Travis Kelce or Gronk, that'd be great. Or even a Jimmy Graham, now that he's back with a more high-flying offense in Green Bay, would be nice. I got Joe Mixon last year, and I actually really like Joe Mixon. He's one of the more bright spots. Obviously, A.J. Green is a talent as well, but one of the bright spots on a weird, not very bright Bengals team looking like this year. I know that Mixon, obviously, he had to deal with a bunch of stuff coming out when he was going through his draft process, when some domestic violence stuff got put out there, and then the Bengals drafted him, and he played well last year in his rookie season. So I'm not condoning, please believe me, we're not condoning anything, obviously, regarding his past, but you do like to see a young man like that pull himself up and get his stuff together, and obviously then perform well on the field is also an added bonus, because football is just a game, folks. It really is just a game. You got to be a man of the game first. You got to be a NFL man first before you can be an NFL player. You got to be a man, and you got to treat women correctly. After that was Randall Cobb. He's kind of on his last leg. Obviously, Devontae Adams is going to be the number one guy in Green Bay this year. Geronimo Allison, honestly, could become the next Randall Cobb, where he's kind of an under-the-radar guy who's going to become a more of an on-the-radar guy for sure. For some reason, I reached and I grabbed the Patriots defense because I just wanted a defense early, and I heard the Patriots defense was going to be like a sneaky pick in the fantasy. Like, defenses are a dime a dozen. I probably rotated my defense every week. I don't think I maybe had one defense that lasted maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and then I rotated them out because it's all based off matchups. I try to get whoever was playing the Browns last year, basically. Emmanuel Sanders after that. Emmanuel Sanders honestly could have a bounce back season this year. I picked him, I feel like I pick him every season, and he's had great seasons. He's had bad. Obviously, when he had Peyton, it was good. It was cool. But last year, he didn't have anybody, and now he's going to have Case Keenum, who I'm just like, everybody's like, oh, Case Keenum's going to be a great upgrade from what they had. Yeah, it's going to be an upgrade, because anything's an upgrade from Trevor Siemian, please, and Paxton Lynch. No offense, Brock Osweiler. No offense to those guys. I mean, I wish Paxton Lynch worked out. He looks like a great NFL quarterback. He's a big guy. Just can't play, which sucks. I got Darren Sproles. He's obviously done. Cooper Kupp is interesting. I grabbed him late. He was a rookie last year, and he had some great days. He had great weeks. There was weeks last year where I think he scored 40 in 1 week, because he was a very, very nice target for young Jared Goff, and worked in that offense very well. So gotta like him. Cooper Kupp, might have to draft him again this year, late in the draft. And then I got Matt Prater as my kicker. I actually got him, and then I get him in the mock draft I did yesterday on Tuesday. And then Ben Roethlisberger, which ended up being the best pick probably in the draft, or one of the best picks in the draft for me, because he started when Aaron Rodgers got hurt, and then I just picked up Matt Stafford and basically went tandem quarterback, mixing and matching whoever had the better matchup. Ben Roethlisberger and Matthew Stafford, so that works out. And then Seth Roberts to finish off the draft last year. So that was what I did last year. So we'll see what happens this year, as I've already scheduled my draft for Labor Day. You guys should too. All right, everybody stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
All right, welcome back to GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast on a Thursday today here, as we are basically 2 weeks away, as the music just loves to cut itself off right there so abruptly, but it's okay. As we're 2 weeks away from preseason, which, I mean, we're excited for, right? Preseason, yay! And then we get to week 2 and we're like, when's the regular season? When's week 1? I was like, we get to the second game of the preseason, it's like, where's the starters? I don't want these scrubs on the field. No offense to those practice guys, as they are all fighting for a position on the team. You got to give them credit for that. Also, this year, is it the Browns this year or the Ravens? It's somebody. I don't know. Can't remember who the Hard Knocks is this year. I think it is the Browns. I'm pretty sure it's the Browns this year. As we're going to see Baker Mayfield, for those who have HBO, which I recommend you get. If you don't have HBO, you're losing it. You're losing a lot of content. Go, or if you don't have it, I'm not going to condone sharing like sign-in stuff, authentication stuff to get able to watch it. But I mean, just try and figure out if you can, because there's a lot of good stuff on there. And one of them is this Hard Knocks show that will be documenting the preseason and the training camp of the Cleveland Browns. So I think that first production started 2 days ago. I think when's the first episode? It's going to be on Tuesdays, and I think it's going to start August 7th. The first of 5 episodes, August 7th at 10 on HBO. So that'll be fun to watch, as it always is, because they do a good job. They pick some players, they do profiles on them, they go in their homes, they talk to their families. It's not just coaches yelling at people or Rex Ryan saying the F word or eating snacks. It's not that. I mean, the Jets, honestly, that was one of the best seasons. The Jets season was amazing. I loved that season. I go back and watch it sometimes on demand. It is hilarious. But this actually is going to be a fun one to watch because the Browns are actually kind of interesting this year. There's a lot of people who think the Browns can go 6-10, 7-9, 8-8. Tate thinks they're going to go 8-8, which is I'm not going to comment on that. Tate's from Ohio. Just give me a break. Apparently he's a Cowboy fan, but whatever. It's just, I feel like everybody, if they don't have a team, like specifically, or their team sucks, they're just a Cowboy fan or a Patriots fan, which is just, maybe like, how many playoff games the Cowboys have won since 1996? 2. They've won 2 playoff games. Just want to let you guys know that. Just 2. Since 1996, since literally, I was born already. Okay, I'm not that young, but not very far off. No, that's it's interesting. It's interesting that we have gotten to this point where we want fantasy, we want to draft, we have to go sit through preseason, but we do get some entertainment because the Browns are going to be interesting on HBO. They're going to have, obviously, Myles Garrett coming into his second season. You're going to have, obviously, Baker Mayfield and then Tyrod Taylor's dynamic. That's the one thing that I think Tyrod could be so good for the Browns, but he's going to have to look over his shoulder all the time. I would just get a big blinder, be like, no, I'm not looking over my shoulder. I'm not letting this kid jump on me. This is not going to happen. I'm going to focus on my work and making sure I stay on the field as long as possible. Obviously, the unfortunate circumstances are the guy that the Browns drafted him with the first pick overall. So it's not like he's not going to play. He's gonna play. But just where Tyrod's going to be after, and if he wants, maybe he's going to move along and get to a new team. So be it. There's always going to be a team out there that has quarterback and needs a quarterback. I don't know how long Ryan Tannehill is going to be able to be standing in Miami. I'm trying to think right now. Everybody's seemingly pretty good, aren't they? Everybody who needed a quarterback got one in the draft. Cardinals got one. Giants got one. Jets got one. No, actually, the Giants did not get one. Sorry. That they should have, but they didn't. The other team in the stadium they share got the guy they should have got, but it is what it is. The Jets got one. The Cardinals got one. Giants have a quarterback. Eli Manning is their quarterback. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. 2-time Super Bowl winning Super Bowl champion. Beat Tom Brady twice. I'm not gonna go there. I'm an Eli Manning fan. He's getting older. I thought that would be a perfect time to transition a new quarterback in, and Sam Darnold would be a good guy to do that with if he was under the tutelage of Eli Manning. So I'm done with that. But no, everybody. I'm trying to think right now who really is questioning out there regarding their quarterback situation. Nobody. There's no competitions going on. There's nothing really happening. You got 5 budding stars in the NFL kind of just waiting underneath their understudies right now. I totally forgot about Josh Allen. The fact that he has A.J. McCarron above him on the depth chart, and he's the only guy standing in his way to get on the field there in Buffalo. So maybe you're going to see Josh Allen first. If I was going to actually throw some odds out there, or rank at least the chances, like, best chance to worst chance that they actually get on the field this year, or who I think is going to go first, it could go easily Josh Allen number 1, even though he probably needs the most time off the field before he starts, because I think the fans are going to be on the butts of the team, and A.J. McCarron is not going to cut it, I don't think, up there, and you're going to want to get your guy in there. So I'd say Josh Allen, honestly, is number 1. Number 2, very close number 2, basically a 1A, 1B. So that 1A is the situation in Arizona where you have an oft injured Sam Bradford, and then having a Josh Rosen behind him, who apparently just lit it up at OTAs and minicamp. I'm very excited to see him in training camp, and obviously in the preseason games as well. So that's gonna be a fun one to watch, but a fun guy to watch. So I'd say he's number 2. Number 3 is Baker, actually. But he's close too, but Tyrod, and then actually I think number 4 is Sam Darnold, and number 5 is to actually become the starter. He's going to be on the field because they're going to try and do those 2 quarterback things, is Lamar Jackson, because Lamar is behind Joe Flacco, and Joe Flacco's getting paid way too much money to be quarterback for that team, so they kind of have to let him play. But no, they're just going off the situation. A.J. McCarron isn't going to really, I don't know how long he's going to cut it there in Buffalo before they're going to try and get Josh Allen out there. Same thing in Arizona. And then in Cleveland, obviously, Tyrod, could play really good, but then you say it's still the first round pick. He's still going to be right there. He's right in the wings, waiting. Tyrod was. I think the thing is, if you're Tyrod Taylor and you're Tyrod Taylor's agent, you knew signing there that you're a placeholder. You knew that. So I mean, whether he's going to go in there with a bunch of pride, like he's not taking my job. He's not taking my job. So be it. Do that. Do what you need to do, boo. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So that's why I have him at number 3. Number 4 is Darnold, because the Jets have 2 quarterbacks ahead of him right now with Teddy Bridgewater, and he could easily usurp Teddy Bridgewater. He could leapfrog Bridgewater, no problem. But Josh McCown is a proven starter in this league and is a guy who's been around for a very long time and is going to be a great tutelage. Has some great coaching qualities. You can tell already, and he's going to do some great tutelage for both those guys, honestly, because Teddy Bridgewater is still a young quarterback. And then obviously you have the rookie with Sam Darnold, and then Pitt is Lamar, and we talked about that with Joe Flacco and his contract deal. But you might actually see the first person to actually set foot on the field in a real play during the regular season might actually be Lamar Jackson, because of the fact they're going to try and do those 2 quarterback plays, and they've been practicing it even before the training camp has started. So you never know. John Harbaugh, Jimmy's brother. He can have a little ace of his sleeve, and his name is Lamar Jackson. All right, but I mean, we've done the running backs, 10 quarterbacks. I mean, I know fantasy wise, it's all about our rankings. It's all about draft rankings and who's better than who. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of ranking things. I mean, there's obviously what I just did wasn't really ranking. It was more like the percentage chance of that happening, like the best chance or the worst chance of it happening. And it's not taking away from anything. It's just circumstances and situation. But when you compare people, you tend to have a tendency to slight the other person, or to have a detriment to the other person, or pull back to the other person. It's like when the LeBron MJ comparison. LeBron's better than MJ, so you're taking away from MJ. MJ's better than LeBron. No, you're taking away from LeBron. They're different players. They're in 2 different eras, so it's tough to compare. However, fantasy, everybody's playing the same right now. You could really look at stats, and that's a good way to measure people. And you could also look at circumstances, and we talked about performance variables and how certain rankings get created, and how Deshaun Watson became the number 4 quarterback on Fantasy Pros list after playing 6 games. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo played 6 games, and he won them all. Or 5 games, actually. He won them all. So, where is he at? Fantasy Pros? I think he's actually number 10, which is not bad at all. Or number 11, I think, behind Matt Stafford. Quite love. Well, he actually saved me last year. Matt Stafford and Ben Roethlisberger saved me last year, along with Todd Gurley, but we'll go. That was last year. This is all about this year. I mean, Matt Stafford will probably be on my bench this year, waiting in the wings, waiting for a good matchup against. Trying to think of in the NFC North, who has a weak defense. I mean, Green Bay usually is a little leaky on defense, but yeah. So we'll figure that out as we go. The bad defenses seem to let themselves be known by week 3. I mean, who got blown out twice? No, I'm kidding. Yeah. So. That's how it works for me, at least, but quarterback rankings and such. But the running backs are going to be fun to watch this year. David Johnson, I would not be afraid of picking him at all, because it's not a leg injury. It's a wrist injury. I think his ball security is going to be just fine. It heals up nice and easy. Unfortunately, he did knock him out for the whole season, so you are kind of a little wary on the fact that there were maybe the ligaments and stuff like that. But he's had the rehab. He's done the rehab, and he's back at the rating and ranking that he deserves, because he's a very good running back, and he's going to be a very good assist help for whoever is quarterbacking for the Cardinals this year. Also, I mean, Zeke in PPR, why he drops is because the receivers become more valuable than him, because he doesn't catch the ball in the backfield that much. But I think he's going to be a force. I mean, I don't know. USA Today had the Cowboys at 7-9. Is their defense that bad? I mean, has Dak's stock really dropped that much? I mean, they did the whole ESPN did like their quarterback tiers, where I mean, tier 1 was like literally 4 guys. It was Brady, Rodgers, Roethlisberger, and Drew Brees. That was tier 1, and then tier 2 was like 12 of them. and then tier 3 was everybody else. And Dak was actually on tier 3. Dak was like, they said tier 3 was like quarterbacks who need to have a good defense and a good running game basically to be successful, and are basically game managers, and that's basically what Dak has been in his career. I mean, he set the world on fire with his touch and his accuracy. Yes, great. That's what, honestly, they are great things to have, but you got to also have guts, and you got to have ingenuity, and you also have to have more guts and balls to do some things. I mean, some of these throws you see some of these quarterbacks do. I mean, Aaron Rodgers just throw the ball up in the air, 50 feet ball, go get it, jump ball. Trust your receiver. That's the problem in Dallas. They just never really had a trusty receiver. I mean, the last trusty receiver, other than obviously Jason Witten, he's a tight end though. The last absolutely trusty receiver they've had there was Miles Austin, who actually I liked watching. I'm not a Dallas fan at all, but I liked Miles Austin. Miles Austin's a great player. Love watching him, and great professional as well. So, I mean, that's the last time they've had it. I wouldn't say Dez is the best, most reliable. I wouldn't say Terrence Williams is the most reliable. Cole Beasley's honestly become better. He's become the guy, honestly, there. Did they cut him or did they cut Switzer? Because obviously they didn't keep both of them. That core, their receiving core right now is kind of is interesting. It's obviously very crowded. I think they drafted a receiver too, and then you get Allen Hurns over from the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I don't know. Dallas is going to be kind of a weird scenario there, but Zeke, I'd still pick him in PPR just to have him as a running back because he's just that good and he's going to get touchdowns and he scores a lot of points. So it is what it is for me. Whether their defense is going to back it up, they kind of had a no-name defense last year, but now we kind of know their names. If Sean Lee can stay healthy for once, if they can get Ingram, or no, it's what's the guy's name? Well, obviously DeMarcus Lawrence, and then they have the other guy, Robert Irving or something like that, on the other side. So very good pass rushers there for them. So we'll see what happens with the Dallas Cowboys. But I think Zeke is due for another big year as he has the wear and tear. He has 6 less games on his body than he would have had coming into the season because of the suspension last year. So that's honestly a positive. All right, that'll wrap it up for the show today. We'll come back on next Tuesday and give you some more talk on the fantasy footballs. We'll be ever closer. We can smell it. The start of preseason, and then, of course, like I said, we'll watch game 1 and game 2. I'm like, okay, game 3, I know the starters play a little more, but I just want week 1 of the NFL. Can we start the season, please? Please. All right. Everybody have a good weekend, and we'll be back on Tuesday. Talk to you later. Bye.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Fantasy Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.